Hey there. Woo. Today is going to be a fun conversation. Let me post the topic here and pin it. So I am going to be meeting up with Kimberly. I posted her video earlier, I don't know if it was this month or last month, and it really got people going. Tons of you commented. I think we had almost 300 comments. And you all had something to say. A lot of the guys were feeling away. A lot of the women were defending. Some women were against it. So I think it's time we get to the bottom of this because it was a small little clip as a part of a larger conversation. Shout out to Hardly Initiated, the podcast. All right, let me say hello to a couple people before she comes on. I see my girl Tay. Hey. And you guys, quick announcement. Drop your city and state, by the way, if you would like to be shouted out while I have time. But I'm really excited. Today is a very special day because I just sent out email invitations to those on my email list, letting them know about my brand new community. So for the last, I don't know how many years, I've been talking about my Facebook group, and I've kept saying I'm going to take it off Facebook. I'm going to actually create one of my own, because you guys know it's scary to start something on someone else's platform. But today is the day I have launched. So I have my community, and there is a singles group and there is a free for all group. Oh, she says she got the email. Yay. So everybody can come in, free trial for 30 days. You can see how you like it, but we have conversations. I brought the forum over there. It's just like Facebook, but we have a lot more other things that we can add to it. Group chats and things like that. So especially for the singles, this is good because you can see people in real time. So make sure you go over there, set up your profile, and at least for the next 30 days, check it out. Okay, I see a North Carolina in the house. What other cities and state? We got Queens, New York. Thank you, Charles. And North Carolina, if I didn't say that, I'm sorry. All right, so she is supposed to be coming on. Hopefully she comes on soon. I don't see her on the request yet, but I'll give you a little bit of the backstory for those of you who possibly did not see the post. By the way, let me know in the comment if you've seen the post, say yes. If you have not seen the post I'm talking about, say no. And we got Tacoma, Washington. Hey, hello. And of course, I'm coming to you from Southern California. And Miss Nemo got the email. She said, nice. And she's in Chicago. So see, my people got the information. If you're on my email list, you guys are the first ones to be in the know. Okay, Ashley saw it. Yes. Hey, Ashley. All right. So the post was, the title, I'm trying to think how it was. She had 13 guys basically on her roster, and her husband was the 13th guy. And so the two gentlemen who were interviewing her were really shocked that she had 13. Thank you, Tay. Tay got a badge. Thank you. Appreciate that so much. And so they were really shocked. And so it just opened up a big conversation in the comments with people talking about whether or not it was cool to have that many people on your roster at once, etc., etc. Oh, thank you, Tia. Tia got a badge too. You guys are so sweet. I do this full time, so it's a really big deal. It's like tipping your waitress. Thank you so much. And I will say this, I did a short little live the other day. I didn't save it, but a bunch of you guys have reached out. Right when I said that, Amanda's like, save the live. A bunch of you guys reached out and you're like, I haven't seen any of your lives lately because I typically do a lot of live streams. And so I have to say I'm finally settled in. I moved 2 hours from my other home. And so I'm finally all settled in. I'm kind of in a groove, and I had a lot going on with getting that community launched. And so I'm always doing Instagram content and YouTube videos, and then I still have my coaching, plus I'm a mom with a homeschooler, semi-homeschool. I want to take away from her online school. The teacher does a lot. But it was a lot, so I'm finally in a place where I can kind of get back. But I missed you guys. I missed having conversations. Thank you, Nadira. Oh, hey, love. I love seeing, see a couple people on here that I have worked with. It's pretty cool to see. And as for this live stream, you know what? I'll save this live stream and I'll put it on YouTube if she's able to make it. I'm hoping she's able to make it because we are 4 minutes in and she is not here yet. So this is what I'm going to do. Since she's not here yet, I'm going to bring somebody on. If anybody wants to come on who has seen the post or has heard enough about me talking about it. Hey, Lamont, I might have him come on. But let me know, what are your thoughts? Do you think that a woman should entertain multiple men at a time? Yes or no? And then I would like to know your why. And I'll give her 10 minutes. If she's not on by the 10-minute mark, then we will just have to reschedule. She might have gotten tied up. So we'll just wait and see. But if anyone wants to come on, just put the request in the little live stream button and let me know. What do you think? What if you found out that somebody that you were talking to was talking to, let's just say, 8 other guys or 10 other guys or what have you? She said, Rixie said, yes, we don't have time to waste. The date coach, hey, buddy. He says, oh, no. I added the head roll. I just imagined when you typed those, oh, no. Also, anyone who's watching, if you are new to my page, let me know. Like, if you joined within the last 2 weeks, hello. Like I said, I usually am on live a lot more, but it's just been crazy. See some more familiar faces. Another familiar face from Tampa. Hello. Nice to see you, sir. So, if you were dating a woman, would you be bothered to know that she was entertaining other gentlemen? Ladies, do you have a problem with entertaining other gentlemen, or do you just get to know one guy at a time? I would like to know your thoughts. So, he says a woman would be also, she knew I was actively dealing with 13 women in some capacity. Women limit themselves very quickly when a man hasn't displayed enough future interest, effort, or commitment. Interesting. So I think I missed your first one, Lamont. What is your first? Because you said and the women. So are you taking a stance for or against multiple people? We're not sleeping until marriage, so it's fine by me. Okay, Rixie, I hear you. And see, that's the thing. A lot of people made assumptions that sex was on the table. Okay? All right, I see her, guys. I see her. So just go ahead and hit the... It's different internet out here. So I got to MacGyver some stuff. She said, I personally don't have the energy to date multiple men. Hey, love.
How are you? Let me find my filter. Let me get my right filter.
Oh, girl, your natural filter is beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, I think I got one.
Yes.
I like this one. I think we're going to stick with this. Hi.
You are gorgeous. I mean, I wasn't blowing smoke. Like, you already looked like a filter when you came on.
Oh, thank you. You are so sweet. Thank you. No, I didn't put on my...
See, they're saying it too.
You're gorgeous too. You are a beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you.
I know. I didn't know who you were until some of my followers were like tagging me, and they were like, she's reposted you, like come and comment on this page. I'm like, okay. And then you reached out to me and I was like, of course, let's go live. Let's talk about, the 13.
I love that. Whenever I repost, I always grab the information from there. And so when it doesn't have the name, it's always a struggle. And what's so funny, so I'm glad that they did, because it burns me as a content creator, like if I'm not tagged in something. So y'all, if you know somebody, if you see something, tag the creator, because we really appreciate that. And if you're sharing something, always tag that person, because it really, really helps. But I'll have to tell you off camera, it turns out we have a friend in common. So this is a really small world. So I'm really glad that that you reached out. Okay, so we're gonna jump right on to it because everybody is primed and ready to go.
Okay.
But we're gonna be talking about this post. So for those who didn't see it, I wish I could put like YouTube. I could put the little graphic up on the screen. But I did a repost and everyone went bananas. And so one of those things when you have like a 15-second clip, 60-second sound bite, there's usually more context that is needed. So I think it's great to really expand on it and give the whole story. Okay, so, but it was titillating, y'all. It was titillating. So essentially what the premise was, it was her starting out by saying that her husband was the 13th guy, I'm going to say on your roster.
Yeah.
When he came into the picture, and then just all hell broke loose. So I want to first start out by saying, what do you mean? I said the word roster, you didn't, but what
what do you consider a man being on your roster?
Okay.
Because according to these people, there's assumptions that these are sexual partners. I mean, I saw it all. I'm sure you saw them
Yeah, I
all.
did. The
So,
one that I don't know why, like this one took me back. Like somebody was like, "Oh, she couldn't have had a job at that time to date that many people," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was definitely working at that time. But a roster to me is anybody that is calling me, texting me, taking me out on a date, or they've made some sort of they're making effort, whether it's consistent or not
okay.
consistent. They're like currently kind of making effort. So I would consider all of those guys on my roster, and there's a rank. So there were people down at the bottom that I probably didn't even really hear from like that. So
I I think that people, sorry to jump in, but I gotta say this. As a woman who dates, okay, because I'm divorced, so I'm back on the dating scene.
okay.
I think there's this idea from men that women are being properly courted or dated. That these men are daily having phone calls. They are weekly taking these women out on dates and spending all this quality time. So if a guy was actually stepping correctly, yes, you would not be able to have the time for a full-time job and be properly courted by 13 people. But if you add in there texting, then I can understand, because there are guys that will just, hey, beautiful, and they never get off the pot. So I think it's really important to start there and clarify what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless you're the person who says, sir, stop texting my phone, there could be a number of people who continue to text and not actually ask you out on a date. So just want to add that little bit, because that
Yeah.
kind of tickled me when I saw that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did go out a lot though during that time. That was a heavy part of my life. I was actively dating. So I think that's a difference too. Some people passively date, meaning they really don't put a lot of effort into dating. It's kind of like, oh, I hear from this person or that person. They're not intentional being intentional about it. I was very intentional about my dating. I wanted to meet somebody to share my life with. So if I wasn't out on a date, I probably was on a date at least a minimum of twice a week. And then
Okay.
3 nights a week, I was out. I was at an event. I was at a political fundraiser. I was at a happy hour. I was invited somewhere, a birthday party. So my schedule was full. I was meeting people when I went out. And then on the nights that I wasn't out, I probably had a date or I was meeting people. And then I was constantly cutting people off my roster. I don't even know what I called it, but I was cutting people all the time. I went out on a lot of first dates, so they were getting cut. But because I was so
Right.
active, I was meeting new people. So there were brand new men coming onto the roster. So 13 happened to just be one of the heavier times, but that 13 could drop down to 9, to 7, back up to 10, to 6. And when I met my husband, it dropped really, really quickly down to 1 in a matter of probably, I would say about 2 weeks. It went down to.
Okay, that was my question. So now, did it go down because you disengaged from the other guys, or did it go down because they happened to remove themselves with bad behavior or whatever?
More so on their end because I didn't pursue anybody. So I'm the woman that's being pursued. And so a lot of it was really easy. Some men just were not doing what they should be doing. I didn't hear from a lot of them. So maybe a few days would go by. They would finally reach out to me. And after I made a decision, I just said, hey, it's really good to hear from you, but I've met somebody recently. It's not serious, but I do want to see where it goes. And
Okay. And
the message that they got, and it's crazy because one of them, I hadn't heard from him in like 2 weeks, and he's the most distraught. Oh my God. Wait, what do you mean you met somebody? I'm like, sir,
right.
I haven't spoken to you in 2 weeks, but you know what I mean? How did you miss me? How were you, what you promised that you were going to do the last time we talked didn't happen. But
Right.
this person is like devastated.
You heard his roster. Yeah, you heard his. He had a great starting lineup.
Yeah.
And you just totally just messed up the play. So people are dropping questions, but I always want to be respectful and keep talking to my guest. So, but I do want to know your questions. So use the little question bubble, little icon. That way we can get to it, and then I can answer them in the order that they're being asked. I tried before. I'm trying to scroll, and it's just a hot mess looking back. So don't think I'm avoiding your questions, guys.
I can't see any comments. It's stuck for me.
It's probably because you touched something, because that always happens. There was a hack somebody told me, I cannot remember, but the worst case scenario, because I can't stand it if I'm on someone as a guest and I can't see the comments. So if it's bugging you, you can actually come out and come back in. I don't remember what the hack is. It's either that or like, try this. You can try to slide. Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
You can slide up like you're going to go to a different window and then come back to it, and sometimes that fixes it. And they said it's pixelating. So it's probably my internet, you guys. I told you I had like a little error thing that popped up. So I'm in a super rural area, and so I think that my internet is glitching over here. So I'm apologizing, y'all. You might get some pixelated Etch-a-Sketch looking images. Are you seeing the comments now?
I can't see it, but it's okay. You can read them if you want. We'll go upstairs.
Okay. So I'll let you know if there's any juicy comments. Okay. So what I wanted to touch upon, and you mentioned it. Okay. So that was one of my questions, was when you started talking to your husband, did you kind of eliminate other people? And so obviously we know some guys eliminate themselves, bad behavior, but I'm the same way as you. If I'm interested in someone, if there's a guy who's really doing what he needs to do, I will tell the other guy, you know what, I'm focusing elsewhere because my heart is just not in it. And so thank you. And so is that essentially what you were doing? It's not like you were saying, you told the guy you met somebody and you didn't tell them that. Okay, I misunderstood. I apologize.
Only told them because they reached out to me.
That's what I mean. Yeah. In response.
I responded.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to ask that was because, oh no, now it's glitching. Say again, the sound cut out.
Yeah, I told them when they would reach out to me, I would tell them.
Okay. Yeah, and so the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because a lot of these comments from the guys, it's one guy even said, see, this is why I don't want to date. But the thing is this, no woman that I know of, any of my friends I've ever talked to, anything like that, I have never seen a woman be really wowed by a guy and continue to entertain someone else. So if there are other guys in the picture, it's usually because nobody has really stood out. You might be attracted, you might feel chemistry, but they, like I said, piss or out the pot. They're still sitting on the pot.
Yeah.
So everything is fair game, in my opinion, up until that point. Some of the comments were dropped. Please make sure you guys drop it in the question box because I don't want to miss any questions. And as they're scrolling, they look like there's some good ones. So I see 2 comments so far, but some are still in the main feed. So, okay, I also want to circle back to what you were saying. There's a joke that people say about, don't be sitting in your house waiting for God to just break open your roof and drop your husband into there. I like what you said about being super active because obviously as coaches, we're going to be letting people know you got to be seen. You got to put yourself out there. So do you want to give little freebies to our people? Do you want to give a couple of places where women should frequent? And I want to say this, so I don't put you right on the spot. I love that. She said it's called a dating pool. It suggests other people are involved. I love that. I heard somebody say, don't go somewhere where you wouldn't want your guy to go after you're in a relationship. Go somewhere you would want your guy to go. So thank you, Okra. I appreciate that. So let's just say, for example, there's this place called, it like skipped my mind as soon as I was saying it. It's this thing that they have in Atlanta, I think in Dallas too. But you can golf.
Top Golf?
Oh, see, it's right there. So I want to say it.
Top Golf.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Top Golf. Like I think in places like that, like that's not necessarily a pickup chicks type of spot like a bar would be, but you're gonna see men
Yeah.
who are out there, they're not the less like slime balls. So would you like to give like three places, three suggestions, and then I'll give
It
three
really depends. I
places
think that it starts with the woman and the type of man she wants. I think that every woman is not looking for the same type of man or the same type of relationship. I think she has to get really specific and understand, what do I want, before you're just out here. And then I think it's about just brainstorming and being strategic. So where would your man be at 12 p.m. on a Friday? Let's just think about it. It's 12 p.m. It's Friday. Is he
right.
an entrepreneur? What is his lifestyle? Does he work in corporate America? Then maybe he's still at work. Maybe he's working from home today. What is he doing? Does he play tennis in the mornings? If he is a corporate man and very structured, he probably works out. Does he have a healthy lifestyle? I want to date a man that's healthy. He probably works out at 6 a.m.
Right.
Then you should be somewhere working out at 6 a.m. so that you can meet a quality man that you have similar lifestyle habits with. Lots of men that you can meet at the gym, playing tennis. Golf is amazing. I mean, you brought up Top Golf. I think that golf and golf memberships
Right.
are amazing. I think Formula F-150, the race car event, is amazing for meeting more higher caliber men, I would say. So you just want to
Yeah.
think about, okay, what would he be doing for fun? What would he be doing on a Saturday? Is he a homebody? Would he just be grilling at home? Okay, if that is him, he might need to run out to get stuff for the grill. He might be a Mr. Fix-It guy, so he's going to be a Home Depot. No, my guy is a traveler. I think he travels nonstop. He's always out. Okay, so that means that you might meet him at the airport, so you should have an airport lounge. You should have airport lounge access so that you can sit in the airport lounge. You should get to the airport an hour earlier so that you can relax and mingle and out a little bit.
Early.
You shouldn't get to the airport like 20 minutes before your flight,
You're all
like
stressed
I
out.
do.
Yes.
But,
It is
yeah.
like a smorgasbord of men, not to sound like that kind of way, but it's like, especially if it's like midweek traveling.
Yeah.
I recently went to Akron for a work trip, and in the middle of the week, and I was just like, oh, a little bit of everything in here.
Everything. I met Rick Ross in the ATL Delta Lounge here. I was with my husband. We were going to St. Thomas, and I just got my food and my drinks and stuff, and I'm like sitting down, and Rick Ross is right there at this. They have a desk area. It's like little cutout desk with dividers where you can work up. He's just working on his laptop, and I had to cover my mouth. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I come and talk to you? And he was like, yeah. So I was fanning out. I
That's
talked
so
to him
funny.
for a minute. I told him I was a matchmaker. Like, he's like, oh, you coach women. He started telling me about his dating life. Yeah. So anyway, the lounges are definitely good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say this too, because you actually took some of the ones I was going to give. So I said, crap, I come up with new three. But some of the everyday item stuff, right? Like you mentioned Home Depot. Well, there's also the grocery store, which we know everyone says the grocery store. But I know a lot of women who say, I don't get myself together if I'm just popping out for an errand. I'm just popping over to Target. I'm just popping to the grocery store. But sometimes that's when you're going to see your person. So I'm not saying do a full beat, look like you're going to somebody's wedding, but you definitely want to think if you are a single woman, if I met a guy, would I want to duck behind a trash can, or would I be boldly strutting my stuff on aisle 6? So especially if you go to a Home Depot type of place, because there are tons and tons of guys there. Anything around sports, I would say, if you don't want to actually go to the game, somebody gave this suggestion. The Bonnets God, they said, someone gave this suggestion I thought was amazing. They said, wherever people trickle out from the game. So a lot of times a sporting event will be, in the metropolitan area. And so when the guys come out of the event, a lot of them are not ready to go home. So they'll go into the different restaurants and things. So if you kind of time it when the game comes out, ladies. But I love what you said about golfing, because you're not going to see a ton of women. So it's not like the club where there's 50 million women and you're trying to stand out. It's probably going to strike him that you're just doing a sporting event, you know, let alone. So the other one I was going to give was a cigar lounge. A lot of guys enjoy hanging out. So if you can stand that, I hate the smell of smoke, so I wouldn't be going there. But if you can stand the smell of smoke, there are a lot of guys who, and they're a little on the higher end because it's, you know, it's a more expensive habit. So read into that comment. But a cigar lounge would be nice, or you could go to a car show, basically anywhere where a guy would be going. And I think people just quickly think of the hookup spots, the club, which who's going clubbing at our age? I don't know your age, I won't ask you, but I mean, who's going clubbing? And the bars, those are the type of places for a lot of hookups. So I think of bars and clubs as like the Tinder versus maybe a more sophisticated Hinge or another app. Giving them free plugs, I shouldn't do that because they're not paying me. All right, so let's get into the questions. I had some questions, but I'm going to let them ask theirs first. We got quite a few. All right, so I was looking at this. I forgot that Instagram puts answers to my story question in this, which I think it's like a mistake. Oh. So I'm like, why are people saying roasted chicken? I was like, what? But I forgot I asked a food question in my story. All right, so this is the one. Oh, goodness. Okay, he said, would you want your son to have 13 women he's talking to? Huh.
No, I don't think that, let me clear this up. I don't think that men should be dating like women.
I'm so glad you said that.
Okay, the reason why men are very unsuccessful, all the men that are, please listen if you're on this live.
I'm saying tune in, lean in, because I don't know what to say.
The reason that dating is not going well for you, the reason that you're going to lose the attention of the quality women or the one quality woman that's on your roster that you could be dating is because you're entertaining too many women. There's no way that a man could do what I do and be intentional, make the phone calls, take those women out on quality dates. You're not going to remember all 13 birthdays. You're not going to remember little details about her. You're not going to remember her favorite flower, her favorite food. You have to, for a man, because you guys are the pursuers, what's best for you is to figure out who you want. What type of woman do I want? Most men are just confused. They see everything. They see, oh, a nice body. They see, oh, a beautiful smile. Oh, this woman, that woman. I have so many options. There's women everywhere that you're confused and you're not going to fully have any woman. So it's better for you to pick the woman that you want. That's the best case scenario. And vet her, watch her, make sure she's a quality woman. Figure out what your process is for that. How do I know that this is going to be the right woman to be my wife? When you take that woman out, you should be figuring those things out. That is the purpose of the date. It's not about a woman spending your money to have a meal. I didn't even want to eat those meals. I was always on a diet. I'm trying to be skinny. So I don't need to know.
And I didn't want to sit with somebody that I didn't know I liked.
Yeah, and I'm not going out with you to get lobster because I can afford my own. So it's for us to get to know each other. So you should be asking the right questions even before that first date when you take her out, right? So for men, in my opinion, I think that men at most, I would say 2 to 3 women. And he should be narrowing that number down very quickly and cutting a woman off. When you see something that you notice, that's not a characteristic I want my daughter to have, I'm done. I'm not going to talk to her anymore. I'm going to focus on this woman here and give your everything to that woman. Okay, that's the difference. And that is how, even though there were 13 men that might have texted my phone, because when you think about it, even in the Renaissance era, women were courted. There were tons of men that would come just to court one woman.
Dance cards?
Yeah, because that one woman was available. Even the way they structured the dances, right? It was so that the woman could dance for a little while with each man and have a conversation. So don't be intimidated because a woman has suitors. Okay, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Those are suitors. And
Yeah.
when my husband came into the picture, he was so intentional. He was confident. He was a breath of fresh air. He was different than any other man I had dated. It didn't bother him. It just he was different. He didn't ask the questions of, oh, how many who else are you talking to? How many other people are you talking to?
I
He
hate that.
never said
Like, why are
that.
you worried about? You're your own competition. You are your own competition, sir.
No, and when I was with him, I give him all of my attention. Any man that I went out with, you have my full attention while we're out. I'm listening to you. I want to know about you. I'm fully invested in this opportunity and this moment that you and I have together, right? And so that's the process. And so, yeah, to answer that
Yeah.
question, I think that men should not do what women do. I think that they should be a little more intentional and going after the woman that they really want.
I think you perfectly explained it because it's so funny. On the one hand, men will say, where are these feminine women? We're sick of these masculine women. We want a woman who can have a leader and da 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 da. But the reality is, a feminine woman is the reciprocator. She's the receiver. So I like to, tell the women that I'm coaching, imagine yourself like a product on the shelf and the guy is the shopper. You can have multiple people coming down the aisle, but until someone takes you off the shelf, you're free for all. And I don't mean sex. Cannot reiterate that we're not talking about sex. And I had a guy in my previous panel, he was like, oh, dating is, if you dated someone, it means you slept with them. I said, maybe this is where the disconnect is between so many men and women when we're having these conversations. Dating is dating when a woman says it. Sex is sex. So I can date a guy and not sleep with him, not even kiss him, and I'm dating him. I'm talking to him. I'm
Yeah.
getting to know him. So take the sex thing out of your mind.
It's because
but this idea,
that's what they do.
right? They're not looking to date. They're looking to smash. Yeah. So it's like, if you really want a feminine woman, if you want a traditional woman, then she is going to wait until a man has shown that she should take herself out of the running. He should be taking her out of the running. And the thing is that women who are feminine, women like Kimberly, women like me, our nature is to want to cleave to one guy. We have to, well, I don't want to speak for you, but I have to fight my nature to not want to just, when somebody gives, a little good conversation, you have to force yourself to go, no, this was just one good date. Let's see how he does. It's not about, oh, I just want to deal with a bunch of people. It's, don't lock in on the first person that gives you attention. He needs to actually show that he is worth the time. And I love, and I'm going to touch upon this, I love that you said, when you are on that date, you are focused. I think in the guy's mind, they're thinking this worst case scenario of this girl who's a gold digger. She can't feed herself. She's looking for a meal. And I'm like, the type of person who's that desperate, you're going to feel that if you had any vetting skills. Like any vetting skills at all. These people are not Academy Award winning actresses. They're going to give themselves away and leave a trail of Blue's Clues. So if you actually talk to them, you're going to see that. And I know for me, I'm not going on a dinner date immediately. You cannot swipe right on me or see me out, and the next time we see each other, it's a date. No, there's going to be conversations to see if it's even worth my time to go on the date. So anyway, I wanted to add that. All right, let's get to another question. Were they all aware that you were dating multiple men? And then I'm going to add this. If so, how did they take it? So did these guys know that there were other guys in the running?
No.
Oh no, it's freezing.
Oh, sorry. Can you see me?
And I feel like it's not their business. That's weird to ask that. Sorry, I dropped my pen.
Am I clear now?
Yeah, you are now.
Okay.
I really hate my internet.
No, they didn't know. Most of them didn't ask. And honestly, that's something that it's kind of like unspoken. So if we're not in a relationship, I assume that you're seeing somebody else or a few people, and you might assume that the same thing about me. So it's really an unspoken thing that I never ask. And so, yeah.
Were you ever in a tricky situation where, let's just say, because this is what I always think about, and I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. I've never had enough people stepping up to the plate to where I was like, oh my God, I have to really choose. It's usually, only one's acting right. But let's just say you went on an amazing outing. Maybe you spent the whole day together with somebody, you guys went to the beach or whatever. And another guy, he hasn't done anything to take himself out of the running yet, but it's still early on. What if he's just making conversation? He's like, oh, what did you do this weekend? Do you just get vague? How do you broach that type of question if there are still multiple people?
I'm sure that I had a full, like I was saying, I did a lot. So my weekend was probably full of so many things for me to talk to him about, other than my other date that I went out with. Yeah.
Okay.
I had other things that I could talk to him about. That was no problem in, talking about what I did. I don't think I'm like thinking about issues with the men that I dated, and there weren't too many issues. I mean, there was a couple times where there would be two that seemed to start to be really intentional, and that would be a little more complicated and a little more time consuming, because sometimes they would want to hang out on the same day or something like that, and I would have to structure it. But in time, things would quickly just shift where one of them would show their true colors. And now it's like, oh, okay, that's not the right person for me. And so, the issues didn't really last for too long, but yeah.
We have a very personal question. He said you can pass if you need to, but he wanted to know that if while dating the 13 guys, you were celibate. Well,
no. Celibacy is for nuns. That's first of all.
I know. I always tempted to correct that.
Celibacy is for people.
It's an actual lifetime
who want to take a vow. Yeah. Maybe he means abstinent. No, I was not abstinent. And no, the people that I was dating, I wasn't having sex with any of those people.
Oh, okay, perfect. Answered that question. Let's see. Okay, that's too generic of a question. The question is, how did you get the men on your roster? But I feel like we kind of covered that at the beginning, just being asked out.
Yeah, online dating.
Did you want to add to that? I mean,
I was online dating.
Go ahead.
I was really online dating, and I was going out and going to events. I was socializing, social climbing. I was a little bit of everywhere. So a lot of the reason why I'm a great dating coach, honestly, it's because I made a lot of mistakes when I was dating. I was teaching myself. I didn't have anybody to give me advice. If I knew then, like what I know now, oh my gosh, like my dating experience would have been so much better. I wouldn't have gone through some of the crazy things. Like there's police reports I could probably still file. I will just say I had some very crazy.
I hate to say I could too.
Yeah, I've had some very crazy, all kinds of dating experiences because I was, a single woman actively dating, and I kept an open mind. So I went a lot of places, even when you made the comment of like not going to a place that you wouldn't want your man to be after you're in a relationship. I didn't know that. So I was everywhere. I would, this event is going on and this is going on and I'm here and there. And so there was a place that I used to hang out with in LA with my friends all the time. And we went because the music was good and the food was good and we loved to dance and it was a great time. But I looked around one day and I was like, there's not one man in here that I was seriously date. Like every man in here is
right.
So I was like, why do I keep coming here?
Questionable.
Like I keep coming
Yeah.
to this place. So that's when I was like, all right, it's you. Like, you're at the wrong place. That's why you're dating the wrong men. So
Right.
you got to switch it up. Even if you don't like the music at this, higher end place, it's okay. Like, the men are there that you be
Right.
dating. So, um,
Or a mixture, like maybe you just really want to dance with your girlfriends, so you go, but you know you're not going home with any phone numbers. My situation was like the opposite. I got married first and then dated. So I couldn't wait to get married. Like my dad was my dating coach and he was so good at what he taught me that I got a ring within 3 months. Like I was, but because I had nothing to compare it to, and it wasn't that he himself was like he was definitely a catch, but I didn't know enough about myself. So I didn't know the things that I needed to have in a partner to complement me. I didn't know really like what to look for. I was just really good at like the locking down. So after 12 years, I ended up leaving the marriage, and then I found myself like, what am I doing out here? And looking back, I realized what most women do, which is kind of like my target client. I like the woman who doesn't have the super high self esteem and will latch on to the first guy that gives her attention, because I know that woman because I was her. And it's so important. The message I kind of want to leave with this, because we're going to wrap up soon. I know it's been a while, but I think it's so important, if you're not sleeping around, because I have to keep saying it for the people in the back because they're just so perplexed by the not smashing all 13 people. If you're not sleeping around, you want to date as many people as possible, because eventually you start to realize all those little things that you needed. I remember dating one guy, and before him, I had always just felt butterflies. It was always like that super high of like, oh my God, I like him. He was a friend to me. And I was like, oh, I could be, sexually attracted to this person, but I could also have that friendship where it's not always like nervous energy. Oh my God, I want to impress him. You can actually relax. And so as I dated more and more, it was like this image in my mind began to mold into what the guy that I would needs to be. So now I can easily rule out the ones like, if he's not a talker, nip that, because I'm not quiet. I need someone who can keep up with me.
yeah.
If he's trying to rip and run, I'm more of a homebody. So the more you date, the more you're trying out different personalities, and it's like trying on clothes. You don't have to buy the first dress you try on.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't take the tags off and go wear it, we're
Yeah.
okay. That would be
Dating
like the sex
shows you
photo.
what you don't want. Like, you will find out very quickly what you like. Like, okay, I don't want somebody like that. I don't want this.
That doesn't work for me.
Right, that doesn't work. So it will start.
Yes.
Yeah, like you said, like you'll find your groove into like what you really want, and that's how you're gonna create longevity in your relationship and in your marriage, because you've got somebody that really fits you genuinely. You
Right.
guys fit each other. So yeah, I like that.
Right. He said, I don't want to be the first dress. And this is the thing. This is the thing I'm going to say to this, okay? Because the last question, I think we kind of touched on it. But she said, we're gorgeous. So thank you for the compliment. She didn't get to read it, so let's say it to you. What I think men need to understand is this, and women also, is just in the reverse. What's for you is for you. And when there's a connection, like if you have an amazing connection with the first guy, nobody is putting that dress back because, oh, I haven't dated around. It's not necessarily that. Well, that's kind of the mistake I made. But what I'm saying is, if you have an amazing person and it works out, work it out. But the thing is, guys, you can't be worried about what the woman is doing in her downtime. Her character will show. So I think you guys, in your mind, you always go to the worst case scenario, of this thought who's just out here, tricking basically for meals. That's the worst case scenario. So if you're really dealing with women that, you're not going for the chicks that are half naked on Instagram and clearly just out here for attention, because most Instagrams will tell you everything you need to know. But if you're actually dating, just focus on you. You are your own competition. It doesn't matter if the guy she's dating is famous, if he's rich, if he doesn't have the little sauce that you have, and that's what she needs, it doesn't matter. So just do you, and wow her as best as you can. And if you don't wow her, then move
And you know,
on.
I love
The
that you
sticking
said that.
around where we don't
I
belong.
love that you said that, because any guy, if this is just for me, if I know I gave on the podcast, they asked me like, oh, well, what did it take for a guy to sleep with you? And I gave 3 basic things that were minimum, right? Quality time. He had to spend money on me, and he had to profess the way he felt about me and where he saw the relationship going with us, right? On top of that, I needed to say, wow. If you're taking me out, we're going out on a date, and you've planned something, and I've never said, wow, that's a problem too. Because I want to know that you care about me enough to want to surprise me. You want to make me happy. You want
You're
to
thoughtful.
experience something fun with me. Did you listen to what we've been talking about on the phone for the last week? You know the things that I like. You know all of my favorite stuff. You know I love steak. You might know I love seafood. You know about me. You know I like flowers. Like, is there anything? And sometimes you hear from a lot of men, and it's like, oh, well, if I know if she's dating around, I'm only taking her to Starbucks. I'm only taking her to this little hole in the wall. Okay. Because that's not what the next guy is doing. And you will find
Right.
yourself, it's really a waste of your own time. If you try to manipulate the situation and make it like, it's so weird to me. And I don't know, like there's just some men that have that mentality, but then there are other men who have, the mentality of what I'm going to get, I'm going to get. And if I want that woman is going to be my woman. And that's the thing I wish a lot of men knew. If you really were intentional,
Leadership.
yeah, about the woman you want, you can have the woman you want. You can have her.
Yeah.
It's all on
Yeah.
you. So,
And it's such a turn on when a guy just goes after what he wants. And it's a thin line between creepy and being assertive. You know, the difference is if we're attracted to you, you know, so it is what it is. But the guy that it's just, you know, he says, this is what I want, and I'm gonna make it happen.
yeah, I was on a date
I would
when I
say
met
this.
my husband. I was on another date.
Oh wow. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah, my date
I think that
was
it's important.
late, and I was waiting.
Oh, his bad.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was sitting out, and my husband, he came up. He said, oh, is somebody sitting here? I said, yeah, I'm waiting for somebody. He sat down anyway. He told me jokes. He was talking to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, my date is gonna show up. And I was on a first date. It's gonna be my first date. And he didn't care. He stayed there. And I won't tell the whole
That
story.
was the definition of snooze you lose.
I know, but I think it was his confidence and like his body language. Like he was so secure in the way he sat in another man's seat. I was like, oh my goodness. I was nervous because I'm like, I haven't
Right.
met this man, and the way he's sitting in this seat, he's like not getting up. And I'm like, no, really, I am meeting somebody. And he said, well, I'll make sure that you're okay when he gets here.
That is
Oh my gosh.
so funny.
So I think that
But really, that's that guy's fault for not showing up on time. I'm just saying.
yeah,
That couldn't happen if he was already in the chair.
Yeah, he should have been on time,
Yeah.
and that wasn't going to work out anyway. I won't tell all the details for that, but there was some, okay, I'll tell it. I ended up having the date with the guy. He was fine. He was a professor at USC. And he was going to take me home. The date was okay. He was going to drop me off home because I'd taken an Uber to where we had met. He had a breathalyzer in his car, installed in his car. He had to keep blowing into it to crank the car up. And he kept apologizing, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It usually doesn't take this long. Then he would blow in it again. He would crank it up. After the 3rd time, I was like, you know what? It's okay. I was like,
he was probably late for the date because of an AA meeting. That's probably where he was.
you know what? Or he couldn't get the car to work properly. I'm like,
he had to sober up. He was too nervous for the date.
oh my God. He had a breathalyzer installed in a Mercedes.
Well, at least he can afford the drinks, I guess.
I know.
I'm like, me trying to be positive. He's responsible.
He's just,
No, but I just think that we should go in with the best energy, the best of intentions. It's like running a race. You do not win by looking from side to side. Don't worry about what the other person's doing. Women, don't worry about what the guy is doing. As long as you have your bar, like you said, you had 3 things before you would be intimate. Whatever your bar is, or if you're abstinent until marriage, there's nothing that the person can take from you that you don't voluntarily give. So if when you're dating, you have certain things that you say, I don't want to cross this line, figure out what that line is so that when you stop seeing that person, or if they choose somebody else, if you're the woman, you don't feel like you gave your all. Most people only regret when they go, like if a guy is spending thousands of dollars, like that's just unnecessary. I'm a boy mom. So for me, it's like, I'm okay with spending time and getting a feel for a person before you start really shelling out any kind of money. Because to me, I know there are, it's a tricky situation. And if you don't know that's going to be your person, you might not want to go in super, super pricey, depending on what their budget is. But at the same time, know your standards. Stay within what you could do without being resentful if it doesn't work out, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
So if you could spend 200 and not be resentful, then spend your 200. If you can only spend coffee without being resentful, okay, then spend coffee. But just know, different women need different things. So
Yeah.
Anyway, they are really having a field day with the requirement of spending money. Y'all, that's her
Oh,
prerogative. That's
yeah.
what she chose.
Why would you? Let me tell you.
They want to know why.
Let me tell you something. Okay.
She said,
Having
"Let
a
me tell you
baby,
something."
having a baby is expensive. The women who would date a man without a job, I'm really, it is what it is. Why would you sleep with someone and date someone and create a child knowing that that man is not capable? You are volunteering and setting yourself up to be in a terrible situation. So
So it's an
absolutely.
indicator of his ability.
Oh, about
Is that what you're
no.
saying?
Oh, for my requirement, well, not even the requirement of spending money, but the man should also have himself in a position where he's comfortable financially. So that was also a requirement. It was hands down a requirement. We're not going past anything unless you're financially stable, because a person that's even trying to date who's not financially stable has their priorities very confused. And even for me, if I wasn't financially stable to even take care of myself, I wouldn't be out at a bar in a cute dress or at a happy hour trying to get, to talk to a man if my life is in disarray. No, that is a basic thing that you take care of before for a man and a woman before you're out here. So absolutely not would be sharing my body with somebody that's financially stable, but we're not going past anything unless you have that taken care of. And then the second part of it is, not only do they have to spend money, because I've dated 2 millionaires who wouldn't spend $1 on me. Well,
I just saw a show like that.
well, I mean, they did.
I saw a show where the guy is a multimillionaire and he was trying to split checks
Yeah.
with his girl, not dating, his girlfriend. He was asking her to split checks. Yeah.
I won't go into that, but I'll say, yeah, I've dated wealthy men who were very stingy. And so that's not a situation that I would recommend a woman get into either. So it's not just about the man having access to money or finances, but spending it on me was important, because it told me, one, you value me. A person spends money on something they value and something they care for. And if you refuse,
Is that?
I believe it's true. Do you spend money on your sons?
Yeah, I definitely spend money on my kids.
And so I believe a person will. I spend money on things I care for and things that I want. And so a man that's pursuing me is saying, Kim, I like you. I really want to get to know you.
I know that you like this. Let me get you. I'm not saying what he has to do and what the limit is. It's about his intention, his heart. My husband, uh, I'll say one of the things that really turned things with me and him, um, he bought me, I think I was 29. I was 29 when we started dating, 28, 29. And then I turned 30. He bought me 30 gifts for my 30th birthday. And I was completely blown away. 30 completely
Wow.
different gifts, some of them small, some bigger. But it was the thought, they were all individually wrapped. And no one had ever done anything for me
Mm.
in that capacity. It like really blew my mind. And everything that he got was like little things I mentioned. My husband's Nigerian, I'm Ghanaian and American. And so he bought me,
Oh.
I told him he's going to be eating Ghanaian food, right? And he bought me a Nigerian cookbook. Like that was one of my gifts. And I
Oh.
thought it was so sweet, just like his intention, you know what I mean, and his heart. And he
Yeah.
showed me all the time that he would give me anything. Like I would do anything for you and I will give you anything. And so that's the reason that I knew that's the man that I wanted to marry, because I'm a giver. And so any man that's pouring into me, I'm going to take care of him times 10. A lot of men
Yeah.
don't know, but when you marry the right woman, women are nurturers. We're looking to give, we're looking to pour. The right woman, right?
Absolutely.
The right woman.
Right.
Um, I wake up every morning thinking of like, how can I make my husband happy today? What can I do for my husband today? What does he need today? Should I give him a massage? Should I rub his feet as soon as he wakes up? Let me get the CBD oil, the CBD massage oil, because he likes that. Let me massage his feet with that when he gets up. Let me make his tea so that his tea is already by his bedside. Let me make breakfast that he wants. Let me give him breakfast in bed. Oh, let me go and get Starbucks. I haven't had that. Let me go and get it and have it for him by the bed in the morning. Let me make sure that I go and pick up all of his shirts from the dry cleaning because he has presentations or something. Let me make sure that that's already done for him. So
Right.
I'm a big giver too. So it's not all about, oh, I want somebody to do this for me and do everything for me. I'm a princess. I just want everything. No, I just want the right person because I know what I'm going to be doing for that person that I love as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And a guy who's really all in. That's the thing. And you can always easily spot, I would say, bitter Betties, bitter Bobs, bitter Bobs. Like, when people are commenting and making, having conversations, you can always tell the people who are jaded and a little bit bitter when it comes to guys, because I like to, well, I sang it one time, but I'm not going to sing it again. But there's that song, When a Man Loves a Woman. When a man is really into a woman, there really isn't a limit. And so it's not about, oh, he bought me a car, oh, he did this. It's like you said, it's the thoughtfulness of it. I dated a guy, we didn't end up working out because of another reason, but he was incredibly thoughtful, and he would come to my job, come get my car keys, go fill my car with gas, and then come back. So it wasn't like the most expensive thing in the world, but it was such a sweet gesture. And so I think a lot of times when guys hear money, they think it's got to be, some extravagant restaurant. Sometimes it's just the fact that you listened to what I said. You remember my coffee order, something like that. I have a trip coming up and you bought me a bathing suit. It's the fact that it's the thoughtfulness. But if a guy isn't willing to put some skin in the game, it does tell. It's the same with a woman and affection. Like if you have a woman and she gives you no affection, well, something off there,
Mhm.
because it's natural for a woman to be affectionate. So I think this was a great, great conversation. You guys, an hour
Yes,
flew by. It's a good combo when you look up and like, good Lord.
I know.
For those who were asking if I'm going to save this, I will save it, but it's going to be posted on my YouTube channel. YouTube is super easy because it's the same name, Chasing Yancy. And we'll get your information. If you're on YouTube, I can tag you also in there. But you guys take a look for that. It'll probably be up tomorrow, whatever, because it takes a while to upload. But I love talking with you,
Yeah, this
Kimberly.
was
Thank you so much for
awesome.
coming on. And This was
Thank you
very
for
cool.
having
So anytime you want to go live again, let me know. Likewise.
me. Okay,
So for
yeah, we
everybody
can
who
set
joined from Kim's
something up.
page, so sorry, there's a lag, so I keep cutting you off. It's
Oh,
because
it's
I don't
okay.
hear you until I start talking.
No, I said
I'm
we
so
can
sorry.
set something
I
up.
promise I'm not rude.
We can go live again. Maybe you know, my followers or your followers, they can come up with some topics and we can do something
Oh,
else.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I love that. All right, guys, we're closing out. I do see one more comment. I'll put it in my story, but they're asking if you kissed the guys, if you were kissing any of the guys that you, I guess we could answer really quick. Did you kiss any of the 13 guys that you were talking to?
Yeah.
They really want specifics.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. You got to see chemistry and all that. All right, guys, if you are not following my page, you could do so at Chasing Yancy. Why don't you give them your page? I don't want to butcher your, I was going to try to say it. See, I don't even want to mess it up. If you would like to follow Kimberly, give me your page.
Yeah,
Link,
it's Girl
your
Got It
Instagram page link.
All. I'm gonna see if I can
Girl Got It
you
All.
might can um pin it. Girl Got It.
Oh, and you guys can tap the little upside down arrow, the little V right here.
There.
And if you hit that, she should pop up there too. So you can actually just click it and then follow.
Yeah, did my comment?
So, all right, guys.
Yeah, I put it up there. But yeah.
Yeah, it's there. So I just pinned it. All right, guys. Until next time, tell someone that you love them, and hopefully it's apparent just how much I love you.
Oh,
Good night. Thank you.
good night, guys.